this is Jimmy and Aaron from MACkite, and today we together are going to replace a valve on a Cabrinha wing and or kite. So
let's do that.
All right.
Let's do that. All right, what do we got here, dude?
So this is a 4.5 meter Mantis wing, and this is the windowless version. But this will apply to anything you're doing in this realm, the windowless, and also this applies to your kites as well. It'll be the same process.
And this is, what's surprising is watching, I've seen you do this a few times, it's, before watching you do this, I would have thought, oh man, replace the valve, that seems like an area that I don't want to get into. But after watching you do a couple of those, I was like, oh, as long as the process, I think, is the important part, right? Because it's not rocket science. It's a stick-on valve, and so there's a couple of things that you need to make sure that you do correctly.
Right.
But I was really surprised and thought, well, geez, okay, yeah, I can absolutely do this. It wasn't. But before that, I was like, oh no, I'd probably have shipped it off to airtime or something like that to have it done.
Yeah,
so.
When they first talked to me about this process and stuff, I was like,
yeah.
But once you get doing it and so on, it really isn't that difficult.
Yep.
There's a couple things you're going to want to keep in mind and pay attention to. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. You're basically, if you've ever put a sticker on something, in the end, that's basically what you're doing. You want it to be nice and smooth and no ripples, but
that's a great
otherwise
analogy.
It's pretty good. So.
Everybody knows that vibe.
Absolutely,
but,
absolutely, yeah. So we have our wing, obviously, and then I'm going to show you a couple more things that we have, and then talk about a couple alternatives that you could use because you may not have these things. So
got some custom tools here.
So we have this cool little, it's kind of padded and stuff, and we use this when we stretch the bladder out, so that the valve is kind of centered in the center of this, and then we can work on it.
So what is this really? This is a board.
This is a cutting board with a piece of foam shrink wrapped.
And just shrink wrapped. And so this just provides the background for where we're putting the valve on here, so that everything can get nice and laid out.
So we have this because obviously we encounter this more than you're going to in your home or whatever your individual situation. So we made some custom tools. So we do this and we use a couple of clamps. So
this is literally cutting board, some foam padding, and wrap down snug.
Just so,
but that makes it great.
And then we have some clamps. These are literally just, we have some other ones that are black, just whatever you have, and then that just kind of holds it in place. We got a little padding on here and a little padding on there because we're using them on a regular basis.
Yep.
However, in thinking about it and what would I use at home if I didn't have this? This is literally off a box. I cut it. It's roughly the same size. It's about 6 by 8.
That's a good measuring device there.
So it is. It's exactly 8 inches right there.
Used that before.
So, and then I know to tuck it a little sometimes because you got to tuck it once in a while. So
you do.
So you could also use just a piece of cardboard. If you've got even a cutting board at home, you could use that as the thing. Maybe put something on it so it's a little softer on the edges and so on. Some people would be worried about it. With your bladder. The bladders are pretty tough.
Thin.
So they're
surprisingly thin, but surprisingly
really strong.
Yep.
And you'll see when I get yanking on this in a minute here that it's not that big of a deal. But if you're worried about it, you could always use like a painter's tape or whatever, kind of stretch it out and get that to hold down. But there's also always the good old standby. Just get yourself a little duct tape. It's not going to be on there long. I would suggest if you're going to go duct tape route though, fold that corner over or something so you get an easy place to pull it detach it. So,
and that's all in regard to what we're talking about is laying the bladder out with the valve on it, kind of centered in the middle of this or this. And we just want to keep things nice and laid out smooth. Okay.
And then the other thing, obviously, you'll need the replacement, and then you're going to want to cut it at some point.
This is simple. If you're still here, don't. This is really not a complex process.
Yeah. I'm just showing you different things you can do here.
Yep.
So I'm going to use this, which is like a little X-Acto blade type deal. You get it like an arts and crafts store.
Does HR know you have that?
No, I'm not authorized. I can't have sharps, y'all. So we have this one. It's just easy, and then they come with these nice little covers, so when you're sticking it in your bag or putting it away, it works really well. However, most of us have this laying around the garage or in the, that drawer in the kitchen we don't talk about and so on.
But they're always dull.
They're always dull.
Always dull.
And the thing about this is you want them to be sharp.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have that and you go and you get, say, one of these kind of deals,
razor blade, yeah.
or you just get a straight up razor blade from the store. And a lot of times these come in like a little multi-pack or whatever. I would say clean this.
Right.
They come with a little bit of oil on them so they don't stick together when you get them in those multi-packs and so on. And that little bit of oil on there might cause some issues with your adhesive.
Adhesion, yeah.
So, so just make sure it's a clean blade and a sharp blade. And these are no money, basically. I think if you go to some stores, they'll just say, yes, please take them. So just make sure you got a sharp blade. So that's just a couple alternatives. And then the other thing you're gonna wanna have is, see, I don't even know how to put this back. There we go. The other thing you wanna have is alcohol. Yep. Just regular alcohol. A lot of people have this in their home already. They say, rubbing alcohol for inside wounds. Nope. Outside wounds. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Rubbing alcohol for outside wounds, drinking alcohol for inside wounds. So keep that in mind. But some alcohol, and then because we do it a lot, we have it in a cute little spray bottle. And mine, of course, is pink because that's my flavor.
There it is.
So you need a blade, some alcohol, and a cloth.
Cool.
And then your wing and your replacement.
And here's the replacement.
Okay. And then something to hold that flat. So that was just, a lot of stuff about things that you don't really need to worry about other than you want to get it flat at some point. Cool. So ultimately, I'm going to use these 4 things and a little bit of this. So all this stuff will go away. Okay. So,
I can hand you, you can be like, scabble.
Yeah. So yeah, you get into your wing. They come with the cute little ties on them and so on. We're just going to kind of open this up, drape it out, so you guys can see what we're working with here, and kind of focus on the main parts. So
get some good AMSR wing.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
That crinkly.
So we have determined this to be a valve that needs to be replaced, could be for various reasons or whatever, but it's the actual valve that's leaking. So it just looks like any other valve. What you want to do is you undo this Velcro, and underneath there is a zipper up here.
And that'll be the same on a kite too.
Yes, yeah, kite, wing, whatever. This is all of this is in the same location. The one thing I will say, as you get into smaller sizes, this opening becomes much smaller. And eventually you're like lobster clawing it in there, and you may be like this for a day or so if you do a bunch of them. But and then once you get in here a little bit, you literally get your hand up in here. And then, as you can see, there's Velcro all around here. Well, on the back side, it's the exact same. You've got this big ring of Velcro, and they do not go cheap on the Velcro. It is the good stuff. Okay, this isn't those shoes your mom got you in 5th grade. This is the good stuff. So you're gonna wanna kind of hold on here, get a finger underneath there, and you just kind of start working it around a little bit, and eventually, there it goes. And now the Velcro's loose. So inside, what you can't see is my hand is kind of around the valve right now. So I'm holding it. And the reason I mention that is because if you don't, the Velcro that's here will catch here. As you're coming out, it'll catch again, and you're like, why is this resisting me? Well, it's because it re-Velcroed itself. So, and then you're gonna kind of feel around, and you'll feel, the bladder is cylinder.
It's like as thin as sandwich baggies.
Yeah, it feels like you're grabbing a Ziploc bag.
Yep.
But it's a tube, so get around so you have the whole thing, and then
it's surprisingly resilient.
Yes.
And
now
don't feel like
you're like a raccoon in a trap here. You won't let go of your precious, but you got to get your hand out of the hole, and then you literally just pull. Okay. And it seems like, whoa, Jimmy, you're gonna rip my bladder.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to myself all the time, but it doesn't. So you can literally pull it right out, and as you can see, this is what we're looking for here, okay? So then we use this, as I said, there are alternatives to this, but we want to get this in there
so you
and
can
kind of isolate that valve from everything. And then if I just do this, it's going to be way offside and so on. So you're going to want to kind of center that in whatever you're using to hold it down. And I've seen people do it without doing this step, and it is possible, but you're...
For those of us with OCD, we're definitely going to want to do this step.
You're going to want to do this step, and your probability of failure is much higher if you're not doing this.
Yeah.
Now, as I'm doing this, I'm fighting a little bit up here. The bladder will slowly try to pull itself in. So once you kind of get it spread out a little bit, give yourself another little yank, spread it out. It's all good.
Yeah.
And you're ideally just trying to get this flat. I'm probably overdoing it because I know you're looking at me.
It's all good. It's all good.
But, and then you just, like I said, you can tape this down. You can, we use the clamps because it's pretty easy. And also sometimes, you notice I started at the top. As I make my way down here, I notice, I got a little extra up there that didn't pull out this way. You might have to do some little adjustments and so on. And you're not looking for perfection, but you're ultimately looking...
Okay, cool. Let's hold that up so we can kind of see.
This area here, you want to be relatively flat and so on, and just so you can focus on just this piece. You're not really worried about this stuff out here. That's just holding it, so you've got kind of your good surface there. You can, again, you can kind of adjust a little more and a little more. You can make yourself crazy. So once you got it pretty flat, you know what you're working with.
That's clean.
Go ahead and go with that. So then at this point, scalpel. So you're gonna take, and if you set this down so I don't poke anything. So as you kind of pull this up, you'll see where this is originally attached, and you'll notice also that this has already has this adhesive that's going to look just like this one. So when you go to cut, you're going to want to make the smallest incision as you possibly can, just like any good surgery.
Nice and targeted.
Now, like we said, these are pretty thin, but they're also pretty tough. So when you go to cut, you're gonna wanna just get in as close as you can, and then you want that nice sharp blade, and you wanna bring it around. And if you're only doing one, you're not in any hurry. You wanna make sure this thing's good. So go ahead and take the time, make that cut as nice and as clean as you possibly can.
This is surprisingly, easy. When like I said before, I would have been, hell no. I would have that done. Look, look at that. See, look at that. Look at a nice clean separation there. Just, again, taking your time and make sure. And let's get a good close up of this. So this is the underside of the valve, and this was this side down. So you can see where Jimmy just cut just nice and close tolerance right around the plastic.
Kind of right around that, like I kind of call it the glue line. That's probably not right, but you can see where this is attached to the fat or to the bladder material.
And here's,
try to cut it in as close as you can to that.
And here's a zoom in on what we've got here. So you can see that is a clean circle. Nice.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You wouldn't even know I got held back in kindergarten.
I'm telling you, dude, you're processed. So and then this keeps it nice and tight. Again, with the clamps and the board there. That's perfect.
And the clamps, again, if you've got bigger clamps, you can use a bigger clamp. If you got something that holds a couple 2x4s together out in the garage, you can crank that thing down tight enough. You can use that kind of stuff, maybe stick a little piece of foam or whatever. You got a little chunk of cardboard or something in there to protect it a little bit.
It is, as I'm looking at this, I definitely would not do this beachside. I can see sand blowing around.
Do not do this.
You want to
be indoors. I would suggest, if at all possible, just to keep things from going and so on. And when you're in this, we now have it opening to the inside of our bladder, so we want to make sure we're not getting anything in there and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you won't get any sand in it.
Yeah, so if you got sand in there, that you're never getting it out. That's the bottom line. So this is where your alcohol comes in. Again, I got the cute little spray bottle here. I'm just gonna give it a little spritz around there. And then I'm gonna wipe this, and it's just as the the bladder, you'll feel on your hands, there's almost a powder.
A talcum, yeah.
Like a talcum.
Yeah.
And it keeps it so that it moves around freely inside
Sure.
its sleeve in the wing or the kite. And that's important. You want that there. But you don't want it in this situation. You want it to be kind of dry. So if you don't have a cute little spray bottle at home and you don't want to put, an inch worth of alcohol in there, you can always just take an old kitchen towel or old cloth or something.
Your wife would not let you do that.
Well, yeah, no, she wouldn't. Maybe an old T-shirt. But just, as you can see, this is just an old, this is nothing fancy. This is an old towel that got cut up. And then you can just take your bottle of rubbing alcohol and just kind of get your dab on. And as you let it sit out, it'll dry even more. So you're kind of using this more as a cleaner. And if and I'll also, like, if the phone rings right now and you got to run out, or somebody, delivery's at the door or whatever.
Phone,
hey,
you gotta answer
whatever.
that phone.
Don't be shy about coming back, cleaning it again, and so on. So this will make it to where you'll feel a difference. It's a little less, and so on. So I always, even just there, that's kind of the same thing. I'd rather go overkill on this than underkill.
Yeah, because you don't want that coming unstuck.
Right. And the alcohol makes it nice and clean. It'll almost feel sticky a little bit sometimes. So, and then from there, you get your new valve. Sometimes they come in a little bag. Sometimes they got this cute little cardboard backing and so on. You pop that loose. They have a backing on it just like a sticker. Usually they have this cute little green tab, which is awesome. And then you just kind of right there, that's your pull back. And then you just peel this off like you're peeling the back of a sticker. And you're gonna wanna try to not touch this guy a whole lot, Right. So as you can see, I'm touching it at the valves. We have a little tool. Sometimes we stick it in there just so we're holding it from the top, and so on. And then you want to look at this again and make sure nothing's come loose, that you don't have any big ripples. You can see it's not perfectly taut here, and that's okay. And some of that's also the underside of the bladder as well. And then you just kind of line this up over the hole that's there. You'll notice it's a little bigger than the circle that was there from the original valve, and that's intentional on their part to make sure we're covering it a little bit more. And then we want to just place this down, right? And then you kind of work from the middle outward, much like you would do if you're putting like a round sticker on something. You want to make sure that goes out like this, and so on, that you're getting all this down and so forth.
I can tell you were a sticker scientist.
Yes, and then you work it around and so on. Take that little guy off, and there you go. That's it. That is a new valve on, ready to roll. And
we took this. It would take a fraction of the time because we're talking about it.
When I do this and I'm not talking to someone about it, then it is it's a couple minute process because I'm not explaining anything. I'm just doing it.
Sure.
Slide your little whatever you used out, and then the last kind of little final steps here. Again, hold that so you know where it's at. I kind of put my finger in the hole, keeps me there. Jam my monkey paw back in there, and then make sure you don't have anything up on top. And then you're going to bring this right up through the hole.
So then the Velcro on the underside is going to connect.
Yep, right. And then just take a second, you've been here this long, you might as well take another minute, make sure that Velcro's all attached underneath.
Nice and clean.
Good to go. And then make your way back out, kind of check that, see that that's all good. Go ahead and zip this back up, and then once it gets to the top, give it that little tuck up in.
Just for head, yeah.
And then fold this back over, get that lined up. Sometimes you'll see a little talc on there, not a big deal, but just to see. And then there's your new valve, and you just whoop, whoop, whoop.
Cool. You're back in business.
And we'll see you on the water. Awesome. There you go.
Thank you, brother.
That. Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you have any questions about this at all, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're always happy to help. And until then, hope to see you guys on the water. Hey guys, Aaron and Jimmy here from MACkiteboarding. Today we're going to show you how to produce. Today we're going to make shit up.